Have you ever found yourself scrolling through social media or maybe just listening to a conversation and suddenly felt like you'd stumbled into, I don't know, a secret code?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
The language is always changing, isn't it?
It really is. The world of communication, especially like in our digital spaces, it's evolving at warp speed.
Uh-huh.
And it's easy to feel a little lost in the sea of new terms sometimes.
It's incredibly true. Language is, well, it's a living, breathing thing,
Yeah.
constantly adapting.
Right.
Adapting to how we connect, what we value,
Yeah.
all the new situations that pop up. And the sheer volume of new slang can certainly be overwhelming, makes it tricky to keep up.
Exactly. So today, our mission for you on the deep dive is to kind of cut through that noise. We've immersed ourselves in your sources, this really comprehensive lexicon of 50 C2 level English slang terms, to pull out the most important bits of knowledge and maybe some surprising insights.
And these terms, they're drawing directly from contemporary English dictionaries, linguistic articles, places like that. Each one comes with examples showing how it's actually used, in natural native level chat. Our goal here is really to provide some clarity on what might seem like confusing new words, give you those aha moments.
Think of this as your shortcut, maybe. A way to get well-informed, quickly, thoroughly, without feeling like you're drowning in information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's unpack this fascinating world.
All right, let's do it. We're kicking things off in a realm where, well, human behavior, especially in modern connections, has really shaped a whole new vocabulary. Dating and relationships.
Oh, yes.
It's such a complex world, often heavily influenced by technology, right? And the slang here, it paints a pretty vivid picture of how connections form, evolve, and often dissolve.
What's striking, I think, is how many of these terms reflect the blurred lines and sometimes the difficult dynamics of online interactions. They give specific language for behaviors that were perhaps less common or at least less explicitly named before, the digital age took over.
That makes a lot of sense. Take ghosting, for instance. You've probably heard it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And our sources define it as abruptly ending all communication with someone, for example, after a date, without explanation. Like, he completely ghosted me after our first date and never replied to my texts.
It's basically a digital vanishing act, isn't it?
Yeah.
It speaks to a preference for avoiding direct confrontation.
Yeah.
And we see an evolution of that, actually, with cloaking.
Cloaking. Okay, that's new to me.
Yeah, this isn't just about disappearing. It's defined as standing someone up on a date and then blocking them to avoid explanation.
Wow.
Yeah, the sources give this example. She got cloaked when he didn't show up for dinner and blocked her number afterward. It's like ghosting plus blocking plus a no-show, an extreme form of disengagement.
Wow, that's definitely a new level of avoidance. But then you have terms for when people are too present, maybe, or present in kind of manipulative ways, like benching. The definition is keeping someone on standby as a backup option by stringing them along.
The backup plan.
Yeah. The example. I realized she was benching me when she only texted me late at night.
Ah, yes, the classic late night you up text that keeps you guessing. And sort of related is breadcrumbing.
Breadcrumbing. Okay.
That's leading someone on with small, friendly messages or flirty comments, but with no intention of a real relationship.
So just enough to keep you interested.
Exactly. Like in the example, he only sends flirty texts when he's bored. I think he's breadcrumbing me.
Yeah.
It really raises questions about, emotional manipulation without any clear intent behind it.
Absolutely. It just highlights a lack of genuine investment. And then there's love bombing, which sounds kind of sweet, but the definition is giving someone excessive affection, gifts, or flattery in a manipulative way to quickly win them over.
Right. It's overwhelming.
Yeah. Imagine on the first day of meeting, he sent dozens of roses. It felt like love bombing. That excessive speed, that's often a red flag, isn't it?
It really is. It's often a tactic designed to overwhelm and quickly create dependency. Sort of on the flip side of direct communication, though, we have orbiting.
Orbiting, like planets.
Well, kind of. It means liking someone's social media posts or viewing their stories repeatedly to stay on their radar without any direct communication. For example, he's been orbiting me on Instagram for months but never calls or messages me. They're not talking to you, but they're still very much, in your digital space. Watching.
So a persistent but totally non-committal digital presence. Okay. Then there's situationship, which I think a lot of people can relate to these days.
Definitely.
It's defined as a romantic and often physically intimate relationship without clearly defined status or commitment.
The what are we zone.
Exactly. Like the example, are we dating or just hanging out? she asked. Tired of their undefined situationship? It perfectly captures that modern ambiguity, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
It highlights that modern challenge of defining relationships when, the traditional dating pathways are less clear.
Right.
And for anyone navigating the dating app world, woke fishing is a particularly interesting term.
Woke fishing. Okay, break that down.
It means pretending to have progressive or liberal values to attract a partner when one doesn't really hold those beliefs.
Oh, wow. So faking beliefs.
Yeah. The source gives us, he kept talking about social justice issues on our dates, but I later realized he was woke fishing me. It's a kind of strategic deception, tapping into perceived social values to make a connection.
That's a really unique form of inauthenticity. Huh. Shifting gears to something maybe a bit lighter, we have cuffing season.
Ah, yes. Seasonal dating.
Right. The time, usually fall-winter, when single people feel compelled to find a partner to pass the colder months with.
Kid's chilly, needs someone to snuggle up with.
Exactly. Like, it's cuffing season, she joked as he nervously asked her on a cozy winter date.
It's a fun seasonal drive for companionship. But, the dangers of online deception are still very real, as we see with catfish.
Right. That's a well-known one, too.
Mm-hmm. Defined as someone who creates a fake online profile, usually with false photos or information, to deceive others, especially in romantic contexts. As in, I suspected he was a catfish after realizing his profile pictures were stolen from a model. A serious cautionary tale for online interactions.
Definitely something you need to be aware of. And finally, on a more positive note maybe, we have wifey.
Okay.
It's a slang term for a girlfriend or a woman who is seen as wife material.
Ah, the potential long-term partner.
Yeah.
Okay.
So someone might say, she's not just a girlfriend, she's wifey material, he bragged proudly to his friends. These terms really show how much online interactions have spawned this whole new vocabulary for modern romance.
Indeed. What's fascinating about this group is how they kind of map the evolving landscape of digital trust, desire, and, avoidance in modern relationships.
Absolutely. Okay, switching gears now. Let's talk about social media and the internet, because these platforms are just absolute incubators for new slang, aren't they?
Oh, completely. They've really shaped not just our personal expression, but public discourse itself, often at just a lightning-fast pace.
It's where the evolution of language feels most dynamic, maybe, with terms emerging, spreading, and sometimes fading away really quickly.
Definitely. It also highlights how identity and social commentary are expressed in new ways online.
Totally. Let's dive into Karen. This is defined as a pejorative term for an entitled, often middle-aged woman who demands special treatment or complains a lot.
It's become very widespread.
Yeah. The example of that lady who demanded to speak to the manager over a small refund. Total Karen behavior.
What does this term really tell us, do you think, about societal perceptions?
Well, it's a potent, though often, contentious societal critique. It reflects a growing collective awareness and maybe pushback against perceived privilege and unreasonable public behavior,
Right.
often connected to a perceived disregard for others' rights or roles. Then there's clapback.
Clapback. I like the sound of that one. It's a quick, sharp response to criticism or an insult. The example is, when the troll insulted her, she had the perfect clapback ready. It's all about wit and speed in those online exchanges, a verbal counterpunch.
I do appreciate a well-delivered clapback. Speaking of online presence, clout is another significant one.
Oh yeah, clout chasing.
Right. It means influence or popularity, especially on social media, often pursued or displayed. Someone might say, she posts outrageous photos for clout, hoping to get more followers.
Mm-hmm.
It really highlights the value placed on online visibility, almost like a new form of currency, doesn't it?
Exactly, like social capital online.
Yeah.
And following that, we have stan.
Stan, like the name.
Well, yeah, but it means to be an extremely devoted or obsessed fan of someone or something. You'll hear, I absolutely stan that band. I know every lyric of their songs, she gushed.
Okay, so a super fan.
Yeah, and this term has an interesting origin, actually. It comes from that Eminem song, Stan,
Oh,
about an
yeah.
obsessed fan.
Oh, right. I remember that.
But it's evolved now to describe passionate, but not necessarily, negatively obsessed, fandom. Just really intense appreciation.
That's a great example of a term crossing over from a specific cultural moment into just widespread slang. And speaking of the best, GOAT.
Grow-A-T.
Yeah. Acronym for greatest of all time, used to call someone or something the absolute best in their field. For instance, many consider Serena Williams the GOAT of tennis for her legendary career. A powerful declaration, clearly.
It's a very succinct way to convey ultimate admiration. Then there's the more controversial one, cancel culture.
Ah, yes. That gets debated a lot.
It does. The definition is the practice of collectively withdrawing support, especially online, from public figures or entities deemed offensive. An example from the sources. The comedian faced cancel culture after old tweets resurfaced.
Right.
This term, regardless of your individual viewpoint on it, it points to the evolving power of online collective action and, I suppose, accountability.
It definitely highlights the influence of digital communities, and sometimes that action is more of a dismissal, like with OK Boomer.
Right. Another generational flashpoint.
Yeah, defined as a dismissive retort, often online, used to mock or brush off attitudes stereotypical of the baby boomer generation. So when he complained about young people's music, she just replied, OK Boomer.
It's a very succinct generational response, isn't it?
It is, reflecting a kind of clash of perspectives and maybe communication styles. FOMO is another extremely relatable term, I think.
Fear of missing out, yes.
Exactly. The acronym for that anxious feeling that others might be having fun or important experiences without you. I had serious FOMO when I saw my friends at the concert last night. That digital age anxiety is so palpable with this one.
It really captures that unique pressure of seeing everyone else's highlight reels online, doesn't it?
Totally.
And when you want the inside scoop, you spill the tea.
Gotta spill the tea.
Meaning to share the gossip or reveal juicy information. Like, come on, spill the tea, I urged my friend about her new coworker. It's basically a call for candid, sometimes scandalous disclosure. And for proving that disclosure, or maybe proving someone wrong, we have receipts.
Receipts, like from a shop.
Kind of, but digital proof. Proof or evidence, especially digital, like screenshots, showing someone's actions or statements to settle an argument.
Ah, okay.
You might hear, "You said you didn't, but I have the receipts," she said as she showed him his exact message. There's often no escaping it in the digital age.
Indeed. Screenshots live forever. Next up, based. This one was popularized by rapper Lil B, I think?
That's right.
But it seems to have taken on a broader meaning, originally meaning confident in being yourself. So that's so based, he exclaimed when she gave a frank, honest answer.
Yeah, it often denotes authenticity and self-assurance in expressing one's true thoughts, maybe particularly if they're outside the mainstream or kind of unconventional.
Okay, being unapologetically yourself.
Sort of, yeah. It's interesting how a term with a specific origin can, transcend its initial context to describe a more universal feeling. And finally, in this section, simp.
Simp?
Okay, it's defined as noun, someone, often a man, who shows excessive attention, affection, or submissiveness toward a love interest.
Right.
As in, he stayed up all night watching her Twitch stream. Some friends joked he was a simp. It's often used judgmentally.
Gotcha. This group of terms truly illustrates the intricate social dynamics playing out online, doesn't it? From celebrity culture to just everyday interactions.
They really do. They paint a picture of how social media has become this, crucible for new forms of interaction, identity, and even conflict resolution.
Okay, now let's explore how slang gives us these quick, impactful ways to convey emotions and reactions, often with a mix of humor or, intensity.
Yeah, it's like a shorthand for our feelings, isn't it?
Totally. A shortcut for gut reactions.
What's fascinating here is how these words can just encapsulate complex emotional states or really strong reactions in just a single punchy word.
Right.
It allows for immediate understanding, at least within certain communities or groups.
Like slay, that's just pure, unadulterated enthusiasm, isn't it?
Totally.
Defined as to do something exceptionally well or succeed spectacular, like, wow, you slayed that presentation, her boss exclaimed after her stellar pitch. It's such a high-energy affirmation, perfect for celebrating success.
Definitely. On the complete flip side, though, you have cringe.
Oh, cringe. We all know that feeling.
Right. It describes a very distinct feeling. Feeling embarrassed or awkward, often from watching someone else's behavior. You might say, I watched that awkward exchange and cringed so hard it was cringeworthy.
That feeling of secondhand embarrassment, yeah, where you almost physically recoil.
Exactly. So relatable. Then there's salty.
Salty.
Meaning upset, irritated, or resentful, usually over something minor. As in, he got really salty when he lost the game by just 1 point.
It's a rather vivid description for minor annoyance, isn't it? Kind of evokes a sense of bitterness.
It really does. And then we have savage.
Savage. That can be good or bad, right?
Well, in slang, it's usually positive, meaning bold, fierce, or ruthlessly witty, sometimes in a cool or impressive way. The example is, did you see her response to that troll? That was savage. It implies someone just delivered a devastating comeback or performed incredibly well, ruthlessly effective.
They absolutely crushed it.
Right.
Okay. But if you're being subtly rude, maybe you're throwing shade.
Throwing shade, yes. That's subtle, often clever disrespect or insult. Throwing shade means making such an insult.
Right.
Like he threw shade at my new haircut, saying it looked like a science experiment. It's a form of indirect critique, often designed to be noticed, but, maybe deniable.
Precisely. Sly. Now, when you're truly taken aback, you're shook.
Shook, yeah. Meaning extremely surprised, shocked, or unsettled.
More than just surprised.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That horror movie left me shook. I couldn't sleep afterward. It's not just surprised, but deeply affected, maybe even disoriented.
A profound impact. And sick, in slang, means the exact opposite of its traditional meaning. Yes.
Yes, it means cool or awesome. So, have you seen his new guitar? It's sick.
This inversion is a classic linguistic trick, isn't it? Signaling high approval.
It's a common evolution in slang, yeah, where a negative term flips to denote something positive, often for emphasis or just, coolness. And then there's mood.
Mood. This one feels very internet-y.
It does. It means something relatable that matches one's feelings or situation. For instance, seeing Jake sleeping on the couch with a bag of chips is such a mood.
Yeah.
It perfectly captures a shared, often informal moment or feeling. That's exactly how I feel, basically.
Brilliant shortcut to saying, I completely get that feeling. And if something is hysterically funny, you're dead.
I'm dead, yeah.
Meaning, said when something is extremely funny, as if one died laughing, you might gasp, did you hear what he said? I'm dead.
She gasped, tears of laughter in her eyes.
Yeah.
It's that hyperbolic expression of amusement.
Totally. Similarly, slaps is used to say something, often a song, is exceptionally good or cool.
Like, it hits hard.
Yeah, exactly. This new album slaps. I've had it on repeat all day. This term often suggests a strong, positive impact, especially sonically, but can apply to food or other things too. Okay, I agree. This whole deep dive really slaps. Lastly, for emotions, extra.
Being extra.
Meaning over the top, excessive, or dramatic, usually in a negative way.
Right.
She brought a 3-tier cake to a small dinner. That's so extra, doing too much.
Exactly. These terms really let us express the full emotional spectrum in these concise, often very colorful ways.
They certainly offer a more informal, yet highly effective vocabulary for conveying those immediate, impactful reactions in everyday conversation.
Definitely.
Next up, let's explore how slang helps us describe personal style, overall aesthetics, and just the general atmosphere or feel of a situation. It's all about the look, the vibe.
The whole aesthetic package.
Yeah.
These terms often relate directly to current trends and subcultures, don't they?
Totally.
Providing a quick way to categorize or appreciate visual and atmospheric elements. They can encapsulate entire aesthetics in just a single word sometimes.
Exactly. First up, drip.
Drip.
Meaning style or fashion, especially fashionable and attractive clothing, having good style. Her outfit drip was on point. Everyone complimented her at the party.
It's a concise, high-praise way to describe someone's entire fashionable look. It emphasizes that cohesive, impressive sense of style.
Right. And then we have bougie. Or is it bougie?
Spelled B-O-U-J-E-E here. It means fancy, luxurious, or high class, often with a hint of being flashy.
Okay, a bit ostentatious maybe.
Sometimes, yeah. As in, she chose the most bougie restaurant in town for her birthday dinner. It implies a certain level of opulent indulgence.
A little bit of flash, definitely. And Gucci is another positive one.
Like the brand.
Exactly, but used more broadly to mean excellent, cool, or good.
Right.
It also means stylish, naturally, because of the brand.
Right.
That plan is Gucci with me, she said, meaning everything's fine.
Mm.
What's interesting is how a brand name can just transcend its product like that, become a general term for approval.
It really speaks to the brand's cultural impact and its association with, quality or desirability. And then there's vibe. Such a useful word.
Oh, vibe is essential.
Totally. The atmosphere or feel of a person or place can also mean being in tune with something. I love the vibe in this cafe. It's so relaxed and cozy. It's incredibly versatile for just capturing an overall impression or feeling.
Such a great way to describe that intangible feeling. Now, if a party is lit,
it was amazing.
Right, it means amazing, exciting, or fun, highly enthusiastic. The concert last night was lit. The crowd went wild. This tone instantly conveys an energetic and successful event. High energy.
It's a high-energy descriptor for a great time. And for something more understated, there's low-key.
Low-key.
Meaning somewhat, a little, or secretly, not extreme or obvious. You might say, I'm low-key excited for the new movie, even though I'm pretending not to care.
So like a hidden feeling.
Yeah, it suggests a subtle or quiet truth, a hidden excitement or opinion, keeping it on the down low.
Keeping it on the down low. Another one that sounds casual is finna. F-I-N-N-A.
Ah, yeah, common in some dialects. It's slang for fixing to, meaning about to, or going to do something soon.
Okay.
I'm finna head out to the store, he said as he grabbed his keys. It's a highly informal contraction, just showing a casual intent. Very natural in speech for many people.
It illustrates how language gets streamlined in everyday speech, doesn't it? And then we move to snack.
Calling someone a snack.
Yeah. It describes an attractive person, so good-looking that one is snacking or eating with eyes.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Look at Jake in that suit. He's such a snack. It's a compliment, often used playfully, implying someone is visually appealing, like a tasty treat.
A very modern compliment. And finally, for this section, snatched.
Snatched, like grabbed.
No, in this context, it means looking very fashionable or well put together, perfect or on point.
Oh, okay. Polished.
Exactly. Her makeup is snatched, as always, flawless and beautiful. It speaks to a very polished, immaculate appearance, like perfect.
Got it. These terms really do simplify describing how someone looks or how a place feels, don't they? Quick, impactful ways to communicate that resonate with current aesthetics.
They absolutely do.
All right, to wrap things up, let's look at terms that reflect contemporary life, covering everything from, daily responsibilities to career stuff and social awareness. These words feel deeply woven into just everyday modern living.
Yeah, this final category really shows how slang also evolves to describe our routines, our professional lives, and how we engage with broader societal issues. It reflects the challenges and opportunities of modern existence, really.
First, one I think is universally relatable, adulting.
Oof, adulting.
Right. This is doing mundane but necessary adult tasks like paying bills, chores, etc. Ugh, I have to pay all these bills, she groaned. I hate adulting. It humorously captures the often unexciting realities of independence and responsibility.
It's definitely a nod to the fact that being a grown-up involves a lot of tasks that aren't always fun. And speaking of earning, a side hustle.
Side hustle. Everyone seems to have one now.
Pretty much. It's a secondary job or gig that earns extra income in addition to one's main job. She writes freelance articles as a side hustle to supplement her teaching salary.
Right.
This term really reflects the evolving nature of work, the gig economy, often driven by a need for financial flexibility or maybe pursuing a passion project.
The modern hustle culture, for sure. And sometimes you just want to flex.
Show off a bit.
Yeah, showing off or boasting about something, especially wealth or possessions. He loves to flex his new car at every chance, even when we're going to the corner store. This points to the increasing visibility of status and achievements in today's society, doesn't it? Often amplified by social media.
It's that public display of accomplishment or acquisition. On a more personal note of improvement, though, there's glow up.
Glow up. I like this one.
Me too. It's a big improvement in appearance, style, or confidence compared to the past. She really had a glow up from high school to college. She looks amazing now.
It signifies that positive transformation, right?
Yeah, it's a journey of transformation, often signifying newfound self-confidence or just finding your style. A very positive term.
That's such a great term for personal growth. And then there's a classic Netflix and chill.
Ah, the infamous phrase.
Right. It's a slang phrase meaning to hang out at home, usually implying watching Netflix together, sometimes a euphemism for a casual hookup.
It's got that double meaning.
Totally. As in, we spent Friday evening Netflix and chill. It was nice to just relax at home. This term perfectly encapsulates a modern leisure activity, but with those fascinating dual interpretations depending on context.
It really highlights how a casual activity can evolve to carry, a subtext, reflecting changing social norms around intimacy, perhaps. And then there's woke.
Woke, another term that sparks discussion.
It does. Originally slang for alert to social issues, the definition here is being aware of social injustices and discrimination. He's really woke. You read about politics and always votes.
So it signifies a heightened social consciousness.
Yeah. And engagement with societal issues. Though, like cancel culture, its usage and perception can be quite debated.
It truly highlights a sense of active awareness, though, in its core meaning. Finally, we have props.
Giving props.
Yeah, meaning respect or credit due to someone, short for proper respect. Props to you for finishing that project ahead of schedule. Great job.
It's just a direct and appreciative acknowledgement, isn't it?
Huh.
A quick way to show support or give credit for someone's efforts or achievements.
Exactly. This category really does encapsulate how slang provides this snapshot of our contemporary daily lives, from chores to values.
It really does. It touches everything.
Wow. What a journey through, 50 of today's most relevant slang terms?
Provide a list.
From navigating the tricky waters of dating to understanding online lingo, expressing our emotions, describing style, and even just, getting through daily life. These terms really are linguistic shortcuts, aren't they?
They absolutely are. They reflect current trends, current behaviors, the things that define our world right now. They really act as a dynamic mirror to society.
And hopefully, understanding this lexicon empowers you, the listener, to navigate modern conversations, digital interactions, and even just your own daily observations with a bit more confidence and insight.
You've gained not just definitions, hopefully, but maybe a deeper appreciation for the subtle cultural shifts these words embody. Language in action.
So what does this all mean for you? As we've seen, language isn't static. It's this living, breathing thing that mirrors society in real time. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How does the rapid evolution of slang and how quickly some terms fade away, how does that reflect broader cultural shifts, especially in our digital age?
That's a great question. And perhaps what might these terms tell us about the core values, maybe the anxieties, the aspirations even of contemporary society? Even ones that might seem silly or sleeting now, what do they signify about this moment in time, even as they eventually fade from common use?
Exactly. Something to think about. We encourage you to consider how you might integrate these new understandings into your own observations of language and the world around you. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation or maybe just scrolling online and a new word or a slang term just kind of pops up? You know all the individual words, right? But put them together and suddenly you're in this linguistic maze.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you just want to know what people really mean.
Exactly. You want that shortcut.
Yeah.
Well, if that sounds familiar, then you are definitely where you need to be today. We're doing a deep dive into the vibrant and sometimes wonderfully baffling world of C2 level English slang.
Right.
Our mission is pretty clear. We've got this comprehensive list, 50 modern slang expressions, all with real-life examples. And we're here to pull out the most important bits of knowledge and insight specifically for you, our curious listener.
Think of it as your express pass.
Yeah, an express pass to navigating language that honestly feels like it's changing every single second.
And this deep dive, it goes beyond just, vocabulary list.
No.
Our source material. It's an excerpt from a modern English slang compendium. And what's really valuable is that these aren't just passing fads. These terms, they reflect current native level fluency. They capture subtle nuances across, all sorts of aspects of modern life. So truly grasping them means understanding these deeper cultural shifts, the communication styles happening right now.
That's a really insightful way to put it. We're going to cover everything from, say, the tricky landscape of modern relationships to the wild west of social media, how we express emotions, talk about style, even the kind of nitty-gritty of daily life and work.
Get ready for some aha moments, I think.
Definitely. Let's jump right in. Okay, let's start with an area that has just exploded with new vocabulary, modern dating and relationships.
It really has.
It's kind of remarkable, isn't it, how technology, dating apps, evolving social norms, they've completely reshaped how we interact romantically.
Oh, absolutely. The way we connect, or sometimes, importantly, don't connect, it's definitely spawned a whole new lexicon.
It really has.
And it's fascinating because these terms, they act as incredibly concise shorthand for really complex social dynamics.
Right.
They manage to bottle up subtle behaviors, emotional states that just a few years ago we didn't really have specific labels for. They kind of formalize these experiences. This gives us a shared language.
Shared language is so key for understanding, So let's unpack some of the most common and frankly pretty intriguing terms you'll likely encounter.
Okay.
First up, the dreaded ghosting. This basically means abruptly ending all communication with someone, maybe after a date, maybe just whenever, without any explanation.
Yeah, it's gone.
Exactly. You might hear someone say, he completely ghosted me after our first date and never replied to my texts. Poof.
Ouch.
Then there's benching. This describes keeping someone, like, on standby, a backup option. You're kind of stringing them along.
Right. Keeping your options open, but maybe not in the fairest way.
Exactly. Imagine someone saying, I realized she was benching me when she only texted me late at night. You know, only when convenient.
Mm-hmm. And that leads into breadcrumbing too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Leading someone on with these small, maybe friendly messages, flirty comments.
Little crumbs.
Yeah, little digital crumbs, but with no real intention of a serious relationship.
He only sends flirty texts when he's bored. I think he's breadcrumbing me.
It's interesting how these terms really highlight a certain, maybe, lack of directness that digital communication sometimes allows or even encourages.
That's a good point. And that kind of leads us directly to the idea of a situationship.
Oh, yes.
Which is, a romantic relationship, often physically intimate, but it just lacks any clearly defined status or commitment. It's ambiguous.
Very ambiguous. You hear the frustration, right? Like, are we dating or just hanging out? She asked. Totally tired of their undefined situationship.
That uncertainty, yeah, it can be exhausting. Now, another term, this one describes more of a manipulative pattern, is love bombing.
That sounds intense.
It is. It's giving someone excessive affection, gifts, flattery, but in a manipulative way. The goal is to quickly win them over.
Almost overwhelmingly.
Exactly. A classic example. On the first day of meeting, he sent dozens of roses. It felt like love bombing. It's too much, too soon.
Right. Feels off.
And just to quickly mention a few others in this whole relationship space, cloaking. That's standing someone up for a date and then blocking them everywhere.
Wow. Adding insult to injury.
Totally. Then orbiting, that's liking someone's social media posts, watching their stories, but without any direct communication, just kind of hovering.
Like a satellite?
Yeah. Woke fishing is pretending to have progressive values to attract a partner. Cuffing season, that's the urge to find a partner for the colder months.
A seasonal thing.
Right. A catfish is someone with a fake online profile, obviously. And wifey, that's a term, sometimes affectionate, sometimes maybe a bit objectifying. For a girlfriend, seen as wife material.
What's really insightful about terms like, say, ghosting, breadcrumbing, and situationship is how they formalize these previously kind of amorphous, often hurtful behaviors in the digital dating world. They give people a common vocabulary, to talk about and process experiences that used to just be vaguely bad dates or being messed around.
Right. It gives it a name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This new language, it signifies a collective push, even if it's often unspoken, for clearer communication, or at least acknowledging its absence. So for you, understanding this isn't just about definitions. It's about recognizing patterns, getting a clearer lens on modern social dynamic.
It's all about that clearer lens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Totally. And speaking of the digital world, let's shift gears to the internet and social media.
Okay.
These platforms have become just massive engines for new slang, reflecting unique online behaviors, influence, the challenges of digital interaction. It's huge.
It is remarkable how many of these terms, they don't just stay online, do they? They've seeped right into everyday face-to-face conversations.
Oh, completely.
It just highlights how pervasive the internet's influence really is on, well, all of our communication.
This next batch really shows the kind of wild dynamics of online spaces. Let's start with Karen.
Right. That one's definitely out there.
It's a pejorative term, generally for an entitled, often middle-aged woman who demands special treatment or complains a lot.
The stereotype is pretty specific.
Yeah. For example, that lady who demanded to speak to the manager over a small refund, total Karen behavior.
Yeah.
And then there's clapback.
Ah, the clapback.
A quick, sharp response to criticism or an insult. Like, when the troll insulted her, she had the perfect clapback ready. Bam!
Very direct.
Yeah.
And the term clout is so relevant now, especially with influencers.
Definitely.
It just refers to influence or popularity, especially on social media, often something people actively chase or show off.
Right. Someone might say, she posts outrageous photos just for clout, hoping to get more followers.
And then to stan someone.
Oh, yeah, the stands.
It means to be an extremely devoted, maybe even obsessed fan of someone or something. You say, I absolutely stan that band. I know every single lyric.
It's intense fandom, and the acronym GOATEOAT.
Greatest of all time.
Exactly. Used to call someone or something the absolute best in their field. Many consider Serena Williams the GOAT of tennis. Pretty common now.
Very common.
Now, a term that has definitely sparked a lot of debate, cancel culture.
complex topic.
It is. It refers to the practice of collectively withdrawing support, especially online, from public figures or companies seen as offensive. For instance, the comedian faced cancel culture after some old tweets resurfaced.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, our goal here is simply to help you understand the term and how it's used, not to endorse any particular view on the practice itself.
That's important context.
Yeah. Okay, that brings us to FOMO, fear of missing out.
Ah, the anxiety of the modern age.
Totally. That anxious feeling that everyone else might be having fun or important experiences without you. I had serious FOMO when I saw all my friends at the concert last night.
We've all felt that, I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
Then, to spill the tea.
Means share the gossip, right?
Exactly. Reveal the juicy information. Come on, spill the tea, I urged my friend. Get the gossip flowing.
And for those online arguments, you need receipts.
Oh, you gotta have the receipts. Proof or evidence, usually digital, like screenshots, to settle a dispute or prove someone said something.
You said you didn't, but I have the receipts, she said, pulling up the message.
Can't argue with the receipts. A few others quickly. Okay, boomer. That dismissive retort, usually from younger people to older ones. Based, meaning confident in being yourself, unashamed. And simp, which describes excessive submissiveness towards a love interest, often online.
You know, the speed at which terms like Karen, clapback, and cancel culture have taken hold, it really reflects this profound societal tension, doesn't it? Between calls for immediate accountability, online anyway, and the complexities of public forgiveness in this digital age.
That's a really sharp observation.
So for you, the listener, understanding these isn't just about decoding online chat. It's about recognizing these shifting power dynamics, the constant search for authenticity, even performative authenticity in our digitally saturated world.
It truly is. And the way these terms capture complex online stuff leads us nicely into how slang helps us express emotions more generally.
Right. New terms are always popping up to capture nuanced feelings, immediate reactions.
It makes you wonder, why do we need these new words when we have so many perfectly good old ones?
Well, that's the fascinating part. These terms, they add a specific color and intensity to communication. They often reflect a more informal, direct way of expressing yourself that maybe older terms don't quite capture as vividly.
They get the feeling across instantly.
Exactly.
Okay, prepare for some terms that will definitely have you feeling things. Kicking us off, slay.
Ah, slay. Very positive.
Very. It means to do something exceptionally well, succeed spectacularly. Often said with loads of enthusiasm. Wow, you slayed that presentation.
Nice. Then there's cringe.
Oh, the cringe. That feeling of embarrassment or awkwardness, often from watching someone else's behavior, like secondhand embarrassment.
Totally. Stop showing me those old videos of myself. They make me cringe. We've all been there.
Definitely. If someone's feeling salty.
They're annoyed, right?
Yeah, upset, irritated, maybe resentful, usually over something pretty minor. He got really salty when he lost the game by just 1 point.
Holding a grudge.
Kinda. And if something is savage...
Ooh, savage. Can be good or bad almost.
Yeah, it's bold, fierce, or maybe ruthlessly witty, sometimes in a cool, impressive way. Did you see her response to that troll that was savage? Like, brutally honest but effective.
Gotcha. And that kind of leads into shade, maybe?
It does. Shade is subtle, often clever disrespect or insult. Throwing shade means making that kind of insult.
Often with plausible deniability.
Exactly. You might hear someone mutter, "That was some serious shade." If you're
shook.
Surprised, shocked. Extremely surprised, shocked, or just unsettled. I was completely shook when I saw the bill for the meal, like taken aback.
Okay.
We also have sick, which is slang for cool or awesome.
Yeah.
Totally the opposite of its usual meaning.
Right, like that's sick means that's great.
Precisely. Have you seen his new guitar? It's sick. And for when something is just incredibly funny, we say, "I'm dead."
As in dying of laughter.
Exactly. Did you hear what he said? "I'm dead," she gasped between laughs.
Huh. Oh.
Other quick ones here. Mood, used when something is super relatable and matches your current feelings. Slaps means something is exceptionally good, often a song or food. This pizza slaps. And extra, meaning over the top, excessive, or dramatic behavior.
These terms, they really allow for incredibly quick, impactful expressions. You see it particularly among younger generations, right? They seem to value that brevity and emotional resonance in communication.
It's like a linguistic shortcut.
Yeah, exactly. A shortcut to conveying a whole feeling with just one word.
That linguistic efficiency is so key. Okay, now let's dive into the world of fashion, personal style, how people describe looking good.
Ah, the aesthetics.
Right. Language here can be super subjective and incredibly trend-driven. What's cool today might be cringe tomorrow.
That's a great point. And these terms, they often aren't just about the clothes themselves, are they? They encapsulate this blend of confidence, effort, current aesthetic values. It's the whole presentation.
Totally. It's the vibe, which is actually one of the words. But first, let's get into how people talk about looking fabulous, starting with drip.
Drip? Heard that one a lot.
Yeah, it refers to style or fashion, especially fashionable, attractive clothing. Basically, having good style. Check out his new jacket. He's got serious drip now.
Okay, so it's about the overall look being cool.
Yeah. Then there's bougie. Sometimes spelled B-O-U-G-I-E, means fancy, luxurious, or high class, often with a little hint of being flashy or trying too hard, maybe.
Right, like she chose the most bougie restaurant in town for her birthday dinner.
Yeah.
A bit extra, perhaps.
Could be. We also have Gucci, used like good or cool.
Just like the brand.
Yeah, probably borrowing from the brand's luxurious image. Means excellent, cool, fine. That plan is Gucci with me, she said, meaning everything's fine, I agree.
Okay, versatile.
And vibe, as we mentioned, the atmosphere or feel of a person or place can also mean being in tune with something, usually positively. I love the vibe in this cafe. It's so relaxed and cozy.
You feel the vibe. And when something is really amazing, exciting, fun, especially parties or events, it's lit.
Yes, the concert last night was lit. The crowd went wild. High energy, great time.
Got it. And if someone is called a snack,
Yeah, that's slang for a very attractive person. So good looking that one is. Metaphorically, snacking on them with their eyes. Like,
okay.
wow, look at Jake in that suit. He's such a snack. It's objectifying, but usually meant playfully, I guess.
And snatched.
Snatched means looking very fashionable, well put together, perfect, on point, often used for makeup or an outfit.
Like flawless.
Exactly. Her makeup is snatched as always flawless and beautiful. You might also hear low-key, meaning somewhat, kinda, or secretly. I'm low-key excited. Or finna, which is just slang for fixing to, meaning about to. I'm finna leave.
These terms, they really do reflect a societal focus on aesthetics, don't they? Self-expression, the subtle cues we send through our appearance, our overall presence.
Yep.
They kind of underscore how much value we often place, consciously or not, on the impression we create, often aiming for that effortless, cool maximum impact.
Absolutely. Maximum impact with minimum, or seemingly minimum, effort. Okay, to round things out, let's look at terms describing modern life, our responsibilities, work, our evolving social awareness.
Right. These terms often bubble up from shared experiences, don't they? Economic realities, a growing collective social consciousness. They offer this linguistic snapshot of common threads in modern living.
Good way to put it. Let's start with adulting.
Adulting, the struggle is real.
Isn't it? Doing those mundane but necessary adult tasks. Paying bills, chores, appointments. I have to pay all these bills, she groaned. I hate adulting.
Relatable. Then there's the side hustle.
Very common now. A secondary job or gig that earns extra income on top of your main job.
Right. Like, she writes freelance articles as a side hustle to supplement her teaching salary. The gig economy in action.
Exactly. The term flex.
Showing off.
Pretty much. Showing off or boasting about something, especially wealth or possessions. He loves to flex his new car at every chance. Look what I got.
And a glow up. That sounds positive.
It is a big improvement in appearance, style, or confidence compared to how someone was in the past.
What the transformation.
Yeah, she really had a glow up from high school to college. She looks amazing now. It's about positive change.
Nice.
Then there's the famous or infamous Netflix and chill.
Right. Doesn't always just mean Netflix and chillin'.
Exactly. It's a slang phrase, means hanging out at home, usually implying watching Netflix together, but often used as a euphemism for a casual hookup.
You got to read the context.
Definitely. Their study session turned into Netflix and chill, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink.
Gotcha. And the term woke.
Right. This one means being aware of social injustices and discrimination, originally slang for being alert to social issues.
Often used in political or social contexts now.
Yeah, like he's really woke. He reads about politics and always votes. And again, just like with cancel culture, we're presenting this term to help you understand its meaning and usage, not taking any political stance ourselves.
Important clarification.
Then lastly, props.
Giving credit, right.
Exactly. Short for proper respect, means respect or credit due to someone. Props to you for finishing that project ahead of schedule. Good job.
These terms, taken together, They really do highlight these broader societal shifts, don't they? From the rise of the gig economy with side hustles, the pursuit of self-improvement in glow-ups, to this increased social consciousness filtering into everyday chat with terms like woke.
They're like mirrors.
Yeah, mirrors reflecting how we navigate and discuss our contemporary lives. It's quite something.
Wow. Okay, that was a serious deep dive. We just unpacked 50 C2 level slang terms, each with some real-life context. Hopefully you now feel we're equipped, right, with a stronger understanding of modern English. Our goal was really to give you that shortcut to being well-informed, quickly, thoroughly, but without feeling totally overwhelmed by just a massive list.
And remember, language is alive.
Yeah.
It's constantly evolving. It doesn't stand still.
Never does.
So understanding these terms isn't just about, keeping up appearances. It's genuinely a key to unlocking richer communication, to truly grasping the nuances of contemporary conversations, whether they're happening online or right in front of you.
So what does all this mean for you, listening right now? In a world where new slang seems to pop up daily, what does the rapid adoption, the spread of these specific terms tell us about our changing values, our priorities, maybe even our anxieties?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is. And how will you continue to track this fascinating evolution of language? We really hope this deep dive helps you feel confident and ready for whatever linguistic curveball comes next. Have you ever heard someone say, "Oh, that's so cringe"? Or maybe seen a friend caption a photo with something like, "just flexing"? If you have, well, you've already dipped a toe into this really fascinating, constantly evolving part of our language. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the world of modern English slang. Specifically, we're going to look at a collection of, C2 level terms that you hear pretty much everywhere now in conversation, all over social media, even in the news.
Yeah, they're ubiquitous.
Exactly. And our journey today, it's based on this comprehensive source, the Lexicon of Modern English Slang. It unpacks 50 key terms, gives clear definitions, real examples. So our mission for you is to go beyond just, knowing the words. We want to help you unlock their deeper meaning, really grasp how they subtly shape communication, and hopefully gain a shortcut to feeling, more informed in today's conversations. We might even find some surprising bits along the way. This whole deep dive is really tailored to help you navigate all these nuances without feeling, totally lost.
Overwhelmed.
Right. So, okay, let's unpack this a bit. Modern slang. It isn't just about sounding cool, is it? Or even just about being brief.
No, not at all.
It's more like a really dynamic, fast-moving window into culture, social dynamics, and just how language itself is adapting.
Absolutely adapting.
Yeah. These terms, sometimes they're misunderstood, maybe even dismissed, but once you kind of get them, this whole other layer of communication, of cultural nuance, it just opens up.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is the sheer speed, the velocity with which these terms just enter the lexicon.
Yeah.
They become widely understood, often with zero formal instruction. Nobody's teaching this in school.
Right.
So it really raises this important question. What does this rapid, almost organic adoption tell us about how we communicate now? It suggests, I think, a deep societal need for communication that's fast, concise, and often carries a lot of nuance, especially in our digital, super fast-paced world. It's pushing linguistic economy to new levels.
That need for conciseness really jumps out when you look at how some terms capture complex social stuff so efficiently. Let's start with flex. The lexicon just says to show off.
Simple enough.
Yeah, he kept flexing his new Rolex, we didn't notice it already. But what makes flexing feel, different from just showing off? Is there more to it?
Well, I think so. Showing off wealth or status, that's timeless, right? But flexing, it adds this distinctly performative layer, especially online.
Performative.
It feels less about just having the thing and more about the strategic presentation of this image you want people to see. An aspirational image. Every post, every share can be content for an audience.
Right, curated showing off.
Exactly. It speaks to this new level of self-consciousness maybe in public life, driven by that constant digital watching. You're not just showing, you're performing confidence or success.
That's a really great distinction. And speaking of changing dynamics, how about ghost? Meaning, to suddenly cut off contact.
Oh, yeah. Class.
The source gives that example. She ghosted me after our second date. No text, no call, nothing. This word really nails a specific, sometimes pretty painful modern thing in relationships, doesn't it? That kind of non-confrontational, ambiguous ending.
It absolutely illustrates how digital communication What makes connecting easier in some way?
Sure.
It also makes disappearing way easier. Just poof, you avoid the awkwardness, the discomfort of a direct breakup talk.
Yeah, the hard conversation.
But it leaves the other person completely in the dark, uncertain. It speaks to this cultural shift, maybe, where directness, especially about uncomfortable stuff, sometimes gets sacrificed for what feels like ease.
Perceived ease, yeah. And for something way more direct, we've got cap and no cap. Cap meaning a lie, no cap meaning truth. So that story's all cap, you didn't meet Drake. Or no cap, that was the best burger I've ever had. It's so simple, this binary truth or lie thing. Almost too simple.
It is incredibly efficient, isn't it? But you're right. It does kind of reduce potentially complex statements or truths down to a simple yes or no on honesty.
Like a switch.
Yeah, like a digital shorthand for I trust this or I don't. In a world flooded with info, it's a super quick way to signal authenticity or the lack of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely not much room for nuance there.
A world away from the subtle art of throwing shade, defined as to subtly insult. Like, she threw shade at my outfit without even blinking. This is all about not being direct, right?
Exactly. It's the art of the indirect jab. The insult is implied, not stated outright. It often requires a bit of decoding from whoever's listening.
Right.
It's a social maneuver, really. It gives you deniability. Oh, I didn't mean it that way, while still getting the point across.
Sneaky. Okay, and speaking of social stuff, sometimes you just want the info, the gossip. That's spill the tea, meaning share gossip. Come on, spill the tea. What did she say? It sounds so playful, almost inviting.
It does, yeah. And then conversely, you have red flag. That term is just completely soaked into how we talk about relationships behavior.
Totally.
It just means warning sign. He never texts back, that's a red flag. It's become this universal shorthand for spotting concerning behavior.
Yeah.
Lets people make these quick collective judgments.
And if something is a big red flag and people react really strongly, that's maybe when we see someone get canceled.
Ah, yes.
The lexicon defines cancel as reject or boycott. That influencer is canceled after what she said. This one feels like it carries a lot more cultural weight than some others. It's like a collective social punishment.
It is, precisely. I mean, social ostracism, boycotts, they've been around forever, right?
Fair.
But cancel culture, as it's often called, feels unique to the digital age because of the speed, the global reach, and often the lack of, let's say, traditional due process. It allows for really rapid collective judgment and action. And that can have huge immediate impacts on people's careers, reputations.
Yeah.
For better or worse, sometimes. It's a powerful tool reflecting collective moral judgment in the moment.
And if you're going to accuse someone or cancel them, you definitely need the receipts, meaning proof or evidence.
Gotta have them.
The source gives us, I've got the receipts, here are the screenshots. This really highlights that demand for actual tangible proof in our online world, doesn't it?
Absolutely. In this age of, fake news and information overload, the term receipts just underlines this collective hunger for verifiable evidence, proof. Yeah. It's become a mechanism for accountability, demanding concrete proof in a culture where claims fly around constantly and get challenged instantly, especially online. So if we try to connect these dots, terms like flex, ghost, cancel, receipts, they're not just catchy words. They really highlight this profound cultural shift towards maybe greater transparency, immediacy, a collective, often very public, assessment of social behavior and authenticity. They show how digital spaces have kind of reshaped our social contracts.
That makes sense. So, okay, what does all this mean for how we actually describe ourselves in the world? This next set of terms gives us a shorthand for everything from personality traits to shared feelings, like savage. It means brutally honest or cool in a bold way. That comeback was savage, the whole room went silent. It's interesting how it holds both meanings like bluntness, but also admirable boldness at the same time.
It's a really potent descriptor. And then there's cringe, the one you started us with.
Yeah.
Meaning awkward or embarrassing.
Yep.
Watching my old videos makes me cringe. What jumps out at you about cringe?
Oh, cringe is just universally relatable, isn't it? I mean, I still cringe thinking about some outfits I wore in middle school. Definitely a glow down in retrospect. But it perfectly captures that squirmy feeling, that secondhand embarrassment, boiled down to one super expressive word. It's like an involuntary physical reaction that finally got its own label.
Exactly. And on the total opposite end of the emotional spectrum, you've got lit. Just means amazing, exciting.
Right.
That concert was totally lit. It's so simple, but really punchy. A powerful burst of excitement.
And for describing when something's just too much, we use extra, meaning over the top or dramatic. That outfit is so extra for a casual dinner. It's just a quick way to signal that something feels like more than is needed or appropriate for the situation.
We also have these really vivid words for emotions, like salty, meaning bitter or jealous. He got salty because I beat him at chess. It gives you this almost physical description of an emotion, right? Instantly conveys that feeling of resentment. Much more evocative than just saying he was angry.
Yes, salty feels almost gritty. And for pure relatability, we just say mood. It just means relatable feeling. Sleeping all day. Mood. The sheer conciseness of using one single word to show complete agreement or shared feeling is pretty amazing. It's like a collective nod.
It really is. And when we talk about awareness, particularly social or political, woke signifies socially, politically aware.
Right.
She's really woke when it comes to racial issues. Now, this term has definitely evolved and can be controversial.
Sure.
But at its core, it originally described this heightened awareness of social justice issues, systemic inequalities. Its prevalence really underscores this growing collective emphasis on social consciousness in public conversations.
And speaking of identity, self-perception. Main character, meaning center of attention, self-confidence. I'm in my main character era. This one feels like it captures a really interesting shift, doesn't it? Like seeing your own life as a movie or a story.
Absolutely. It reflects this cultural move towards self-empowerment, maybe even a kind of theatricality in how people construct their identity. Actively seeing yourself as the protagonist in your own story.
Owning it.
Right. Owning your narrative, your confidence, often projecting that outwards, especially on social media. And related maybe is built different. It means exceptionally unique, strong. She ran 10 miles in the snow, built different. It's this powerful, almost mythological kind of compliment for someone who just defies normal expectations. Incredible resilience or talent. So this whole section, these terms, they really raise an important question, don't they? About how our language is adapting to reflect these broader cultural shifts towards intense self-expression, individualism, words like main character or built different. They let us quickly signal and understand these evolving personal stories and aspirational identities.
Okay, and finally, we have this whole group of terms that are just quick, punchy ways to give something a thumbs up or thumbs down. A quick judgment.
A rapid-fire evaluation.
Exactly, like slaps or it slaps. Means awesome, especially for music, but also just generally very good. Super versatile. This song slaps, turn it up. Or this burger slaps, hands down.
Yeah.
It works across different senses, doesn't it? Music, food.
It's incredibly versatile, yeah. And just as enthusiastic is fire, meaning excellent, high quality.
Simple.
Very simple. That pasta was fire. What's the recipe? It's just this straightforward, enthusiastic stamp of approval for quality. Resonates really broadly.
And for food specifically, maybe even more visceral, there's bussin', meaning really tasty, delicious. Yo, this pizza is bussin'. It's a great example of a word that conveys a really specific, intense, enjoyable sensory experience. Pure deliciousness.
And for the absolute peak of quick judgment, we have the single letters, L and W.
Right.
L meaning loss or failure, W meaning win, success. That test, I took a massive L, or that promotion was a big W. What's fascinating here is how they just reduce often complex outcomes to these simple, almost sports-like binary terms.
Not lose.
Exactly. It really speaks to our increasingly fast-paced communication where brevity is absolutely king. And even life events get framed in this kind of gamified scorecard way.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, it's worth remembering that understanding modern slang, it's really more than just, knowing a few trendy words to keep up.
Definitely not just that.
It's a dynamic part of how we communicate. It helps us grasp what's happening culturally, those currents under the surface, and connect more effectively with people around us. It's language alive, really, breathing.
Well put.
So maybe the next time you hear a new slang term, something you haven't heard before, don't just brush it off as like silly or fleeting. Instead, maybe take a second. Think. What deeper human experience or what cultural shift is this little word trying to capture so concisely? How does it actually simplify or maybe even enrich the conversation? And what does its appearance tell you about the world around you? Something you might not have noticed otherwise. Keep observing, keep deciphering, because language, well, it's always telling us a story. Have you ever been listening to a conversation, maybe watching a movie, and someone says something that just, it doesn't make literal sense?
Oh, definitely.
It's like, that was a piece of cake when, there's no actual cake anywhere.
Right. Or it's raining cats and dogs, and you look outside. No pets falling from the sky.
Exactly. It can feel like a secret code sometimes, can it?
It absolutely can.
Yeah.
English is just packed with these wonderful, colorful expressions that can really make you stop and think.
And that's exactly why today we're taking a deep dive into the fascinating world of English idioms. Our mission, really, for you, our listener, is to make a curated list of these A1 level everyday expressions, super clear, memorable, and most importantly, usable.
Yeah, usable in your own conversations. We've looked at a bunch of sources, lists specifically for A1 learners, so we're really focusing on those foundational idioms.
We'll break them down sort of theme by theme, show you how they pop up in real-world chats.
And why understanding them is, well, it's kind of a shortcut to really getting what people mean.
Yeah.
And sounding more natural yourself.
It's where you find those aha moments, unlocking that deeper meaning. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's kick things off with a taste of idioms related to food and eating. Feels like a good place to start.
Sounds delicious.
Our first one is a real classic, piece of cake.
Ah, yes, piece of cake. It simply means something is very easy to do, like a task that takes almost no effort.
So it feels light and enjoyable, like eating cake.
Exactly that kind of feeling. Effortless.
Right. So if you hear someone say, completing the assignment was a piece of cake, they're just saying it was super easy.
I saw a dialogue bit where someone finished homework in 5 minutes and just said, wow, piece of cake.
You can just picture how simple it was. It's not just quick, but no struggle involved.
Absolutely. And speaking of easy, there's another one that's very similar. Easy as pie.
Easy as pie. Okay, so same meaning then. Very easy.
Spot on. Very easy. Often for a simple task. It's interesting how we use food metaphors for ease, isn't it? Piece of cake. Easy as pie.
Yeah, definitely a pattern. So you might say, fixing the lamp was easy as pie.
Or you might hear someone offering help, don't worry about that, it'll be easy as pie. Makes it sound like absolutely no big deal.
Okay, got it. Next up, something a little more strategic, maybe. Butter someone up.
Ooh, yes. Butter someone up. This means you're saying really nice things to someone, paying compliments.
But there's a catch.
There's usually a catch. You're doing it to get their help or approval. It's not just genuine praise, it's calculated.
Right, so definitely not just being randomly nice. The example, she buttered up her teacher by saying he had a great class, sort of implies she wanted something later.
Precisely. I read a dialogue where someone was literally asked, "You're always buttering me up. What did you do?" before they fessed up to needing help. It's got that slightly sneaky feel.
Yeah, that subtle strategic angle makes it interesting. The compliments lead to an ask. Okay, and from flattery to energy, full of beans.
Full of beans. This just means someone is very energetic, very lively, absolutely buzzing.
Like kids after they've eaten sugar. Or maybe just dinner. The example, after dinner, the children were full of beans and ran around. Paints that picture.
It really does. Or like in one script, someone said they felt full of beans after a good nap. That sense of renewed energy.
Makes you wonder where it came from. Like beans are fuel.
Could be. It's a fun one.
And finally, for this food section, an idiom about listening, all ears.
All ears. If you say this, you're telling someone you're listening really carefully, very eagerly. You're totally focused on what they're saying.
Nice and direct. Tell me your secret, I'm all ears. Shows you're genuinely interested.
Yeah. In one conversation snippet, person A says, I have a story, and person B goes, okay, I'm all ears, then follows up with yes, to really show they're tuned in.
It's active listening, right? Shows you're really paying attention.
Exactly.
All right, moving from the dinner table, let's head to the classroom, metaphorically speaking. Idioms for school and learning situations. First up, break the ice.
Break the ice. This means starting a friendly conversation, especially when people first meet, to make everyone feel a bit more comfortable, less awkward.
Yeah, this is a lifesaver for those first day jitters, isn't it? Like he told a joke to break the ice with his new classmates.
Totally. I saw a dialogue where someone admitted feeling a bit nervous on their first day.
And the other person?
Immediately jumped in with, okay, I'll break the ice, I love pizza. Just like that, they found calming ground, eased the tension.
Amazing how something simple like pizza can, break that ice, makes that first connection.
It really does. Allows conversation to flow.
Okay, next we have cold feet. Not literally cold, I hope.
No, not usually. Getting cold feet means suddenly feeling really nervous or scared, wanting to back out of something important, like an exam, maybe a presentation.
Or even a wedding, famously.
True. But for A1, maybe more like an exam. Before the test, he got cold feet and wanted to leave. You can feel that sudden panic.
Definitely. I saw a dialogue bit where someone explained they got cold feet right before a test because they were just so scared they'd fail. It captures that fear really well.
It really does. That internal battle between wanting to go through with it and wanting to run away.
Okay, so when you've studied hard or maybe just had enough for the day, you call it a day.
Call it a day. Yep, means to stop doing something for now. Usually work or studying. You're basically saying, that's enough for today.
Makes sense. Like the example, we were tired, so we decided to call it a day.
Practical.
Very. Or in a conversation, someone says, okay, it's late and the project's finished, and the other just replies, yeah, let's call it a day. Simple signal of completion for the time being.
It's about knowing when to stop, right? Which is important.
Crucial, actually.
Now, a phrase about maybe not being perfectly on time but still getting it done, better late than never.
Better late than never. It means it's always better to do something, even if it's delayed, than to just not do it at all. Like the homework example. He finally finished the homework, better late than never. It's kind of forgiving.
It is. Even if you missed the bus and were super late for class, like in one scenario, handing in the work is still seen positively. It's encouraging.
It emphasizes persistence over perfection, maybe.
I think so. Just getting it done, even late, is often better than giving up.
Okay, and last for this section, what happens when things really don't work out? Back to the drawing board.
Ah, yes. Back to the drawing board. This means you have to start something all over again right from the beginning because the first try failed. Time for a whole new plan.
It's that moment of, okay, that didn't work. The example, our plan failed, so it's back to the drawing board, is pretty clear.
Very clear. I remember seeing a bit about a science experiment that went wrong, and the conclusion was just, well, back to the drawing board, we need a new method.
A practical way to say, let's rethink this completely.
Exactly. Failure isn't the end. It's just a signal to try a different approach.
Let's shift focus now to idioms about home, family, matters close to the heart. Starting with a very sweet one, apple of my eye.
Apple of my eye. This refers to someone you love very, very much. Someone incredibly special, cherished, often a child or a close family member.
It sounds so affectionate, like the example, his little sister is the apple of his eye, really shows that deep bond.
It does. And in a dialogue, I heard a parent just lovingly call their daughter the apple of my eye. It conveys that profound, almost unique affection, like they're the center of your world.
Yeah, like something really precious. Okay. And on a similar note of agreement within families, perhaps, see eye to eye.
To see eye to eye. This means you agree with someone. You share the same opinion, especially on important things.
Which is pretty key for getting along, right? The example, they always see eye to eye on family matters, suggests harmony.
Definitely. And in a conversation, someone might say, yes, we see eye to eye with them about, say, their parents' decisions. It shows full agreement, feeling comfortable with the shared view.
It speaks to that shared understanding being important.
Particularly in close relationships, yes.
And if people are really similar, you might say they're two peas in a pod.
Two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
Describes two people who are extremely similar or maybe always together, best friends, sometimes twins. They just click.
The image is perfect, isn't it? Like those twins are like two peas in a pod.
Exactly. I saw a dialogue where someone observed Lucy and Maria both love dancing and do everything together. The natural conclusion.
They're like two peas in a pod.
Spot on. Captures that closeness and similarity perfectly.
But of course, people don't always agree. Sometimes they're at loggerheads.
But loggerheads, woo. This means to strongly disagree, to argue, often implies a serious conflict or dispute.
It definitely sounds more intense than just disagreeing. The example, my parents are at loggerheads about where to go on vacation, suggests real friction.
It does. And in a dialogue, hearing that mom and dad were at loggerheads over dinner plans made the speaker decide, maybe I'll just stay quiet for now. You want to avoid getting caught in the middle.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite of see eye to eye, isn't it? Shows that conflict end of the spectrum.
A very sharp contrast, yes.
Okay, next, a phrase that usually causes a bit of a smile. Speak of the devil.
Speak of the devil. If you say this when someone you were literally just talking about suddenly appears, it's all about that surprise, that coincidence.
It happens all the time. Oh, there's John, speak of the devil. I love the dialogue example. Person 1 asks, where's Sarah? And bam, person 2 says, speak of the devil, just as Sarah walks in.
It's perfect timing. It's a fun, lighthearted way to point out the coincidence. Maybe plays on old superstitions, you know.
Right, like talking about someone summons them. Okay, and lastly, for home and family, some good advice. Let sleeping dogs lie.
Let sleeping dogs lie. This means it's probably better not to bring up an old problem that's already resolved or to disturb a situation that's currently calm. Don't stir up trouble.
It's about keeping the peace, essentially. The example, the argument is over, let sleeping dogs lie, seems clear.
Very clear. And in one conversation, someone suggested not asking Dad about a broken vase again. The other agreed. Right, better not talk about it. Let sleeping dogs lie.
It's wise, isn't it? Avoid reigniting old fights if things are okay now.
Exactly. Sometimes leaving things in the past is the best way forward.
Let's move into our inner world now. Idioms that express feelings and emotions. Starting with a really positive one. On top of the world.
On top of the world. Yeah, this means feeling incredibly happy, elated, excited, like you're floating above everything.
It's that pure joy feeling. The example, she was on top of the world after winning the prize, captures it perfectly.
Absolutely. Or like in a dialogue I saw, someone was on top of the world because they finally got the job they really wanted. Huge celebration feeling.
Describes that peak emotional high after a big win.
Precisely.
But sometimes good feelings mix with nerves and you get butterflies in my stomach.
The butterflies. Butterflies in my stomach means you're feeling very nervous or maybe excitedly anxious. Often before something big, like an exam, a performance, maybe a first date.
It's that fluttery sensation, right? So relatable. I had butterflies in my stomach before the test.
Totally. The dialogue example showed someone feeling a bit nervous and admitting to having butterflies because their exam was just about to start. It's a very physical feeling.
It's interesting how that physical feeling gets such a common expression, feels universal.
It really does.
Now, when something bad happens and you just can't change it, you shouldn't cry over spilled milk.
Cry over spilled milk.
Yeah.
Right. This means don't worry or complain about something bad that's already happened and is irreversible. There's simply no use dwelling on it.
It's about acceptance, moving on. It was a mistake, but don't cry over spilled milk. Pretty direct advice.
Very direct. In one dialogue, someone lost a pencil, a small thing, but decided, okay, I won't cry over spilled milk, and just focused on finding another one.
Shows resilience. Focus on the solution, not the unchangeable past problem.
Exactly. Practical approach.
And when someone is struggling, you might encourage them to hang in there.
Hang in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a phrase of encouragement. Tell someone to stay strong, keep trying, don't give up, even when things are tough.
It's like a verbal pat on the back. You will find a job. Hang in there.
Mm-hmm. The dialogue example showed someone really struggling with a problem, feeling like giving up, and their friend just says, don't give up, hang in there. Offers that bit of support.
Simple, but powerful.
Very much so.
On the less happy side, there's down in the dumps.
Down in the dumps. This means feeling very sad, unhappy, miserable.
Yeah.
Like you're emotionally in a low place.
It really paints a picture of sadness. He's down in the dumps because his team lost. You can just feel the dejection.
Yeah. The dialogue example had someone down in the dumps after failing a test. Perfectly captures that feeling of being completely disheartened.
Gives a clear way to describe feeling low.
It does.
But even when you're down, someone might tell you to keep your chin up.
Keep your chin up means stay positive, try not to feel too sad or discouraged, even when things are difficult. It's a call for optimism.
It's about maintaining hope, right? Even if it's hard, keep your chin up.
Exactly. In one dialogue, it was used when someone's pet was sick. The friend said, keep your chin up. I hope things get better soon. Shows support and encourages a hopeful outlook.
These emotional idioms are really useful for sharing how we feel.
They really are. Give us a common language for complex feelings.
Okay, and one more for this section. When someone's being deliberately unfriendly, give someone the cold shoulder.
Give someone the cold shoulder means to intentionally ignore someone or be unfriendly towards them. It's a conscious choice to create distance.
A clear signal you're not pleased, like she gave him the cold shoulder after the argument.
Precisely. The dialogue example explained Tom gave me the cold shoulder because he was upset, which then led to the suggestion, maybe you should talk to him calmly.
Interesting how cold relates to unfriendliness, like emotional distance.
Yeah, that physical turning away translates metaphorically.
All right, let's step outside, metaphorically, and explore idioms inspired by weather and nature. First, a very common one for not feeling well. Under the weather.
Under the weather. Yes, this means feeling a bit sick, not quite yourself, as if the bad weather itself is affecting you negatively.
It's a gentler way to say you're ill, isn't it? I'm feeling under the weather today. Pretty common.
Very common. In a dialogue, someone used it to politely turn down a picnic invitation. Sorry, I can't make it. I'm feeling a bit under the weather. Perfect example of its use.
Connects how we feel inside to the outside world.
It does. It's quite evocative.
Now, if you're overwhelmed with tasks, you might be snowed under.
Snowed under means you're extremely busy, totally overwhelmed with work or tasks, like you're buried under a huge pile of snow.
You can feel that sense of being buried. I can't go out. I'm snowed under with homework.
Exactly. The dialogue example had someone completely snowed under with math homework, meaning they absolutely couldn't go out to play. Captures that feeling of being swamped.
Speaks to modern life sometimes, huh? Too much to do.
Definitely resonates.
If you need to postpone an invitation politely, you can take a rain check.
Take a rain check. This is a polite way to say not now, but maybe later. When someone offers you something or invites you somewhere, you're declining for now, but leaving the door open.
Super useful phrase. The example, I'll take a rain check on dinner tonight, is clear.
Very clear. And I saw a conversation where someone couldn't make a movie night and said, can I take a rain check? Maybe we can go next week. It's a perfect way to postpone politely.
And it actually comes from baseball.
That's right. Rain stops the game. Fans get a rain check ticket for a future game. Neat origin.
Cool. Okay, speaking of rain, if it's coming down really hard, it's raining cats and dogs.
Raining cats and dogs means it's raining incredibly heavily. A torrential downpour.
Such a bizarre, vivid image. Take an umbrella, it's raining cats and dogs outside.
Isn't it? In one dialogue, the rain was so intense, raining cats and dogs, that walking home was impossible. They just had to wait it out. Effectively communicates extreme rain.
Definitely gets the point across. And lastly, for weather and nature, being in a tricky spot. On thin ice.
On thin ice. This means you're in a risky, dangerous situation. Often because you've done something wrong and you're close to facing consequences.
Suggests a real sense of danger, like the ice might break. After being late again, he is on thin ice with his boss.
Exactly. It implies you're nearing a limit. I saw a dialogue where someone was explicitly told, you forgot again, you're on thin ice with me, don't do this again. A clear final warning.
So it's a warning sign, be careful.
Absolutely, your position is precarious.
Okay, let's shift to the world of work, time, productivity, and maybe facing the results of our actions. Starting with a classic motivator, time is money.
Time is money. This one emphasizes that time is extremely valuable, like money, so it shouldn't be wasted. Use it efficiently.
A real call to action. Hurry up, remember, time is money.
Yep. In a dialogue, someone was rushing to finish a task, explaining, why are you working so fast? Because time is money. We have to finish this today. Links time directly to value.
Makes the value of time very clear.
Instantly understandable.
When everyone's facing the same difficulty, you might say, all in the same boat.
All in the same boat. Means everyone involved is in the same difficult situation, facing the same problem together. Implies a shared experience, often a challenging one.
Creates a sense of unity, maybe? During the storm, we all realized we were in the same boat.
Exactly. Or in a school context, someone says, this class is so hard. And the other replies, tell me about it. We're all in the same boat. And that leads them to suggest studying together.
Fosters that feeling of, we're in this together.
Yes, encourages empathy and maybe collaboration.
Now, if you've done something wrong, you eventually have to face the music.
Face the music means you have to accept the consequences, often unpleasant ones, of your actions. Deal with the punishment or criticism that's coming.
It's about accountability, no escaping it. He broke the rule, so now he must face the music.
Right. I saw a dialogue where someone got caught cheating and they knew it. They said, okay, I have to face the music. I'll talk to the teacher and accept whatever happens.
Acknowledging you have to deal with the fallout.
Exactly. The unavoidable consequences.
And sometimes the consequence is experiencing what you did to others. Get a taste of your own medicine.
Get a taste of your own medicine. This means experiencing the same negative treatment or behavior that you've inflicted on other people. Karma, essentially.
Like poetic justice. He always teased others, then got a taste of his own medicine.
Precisely. In one dialogue, someone who used to call people names got shouted at, and the reflection was, maybe he got a taste of his own medicine. People learn not to be mean that way.
Shows how actions can come back around.
Perfectly captures that boomerang effect.
To get a project started, you need to get the ball rolling.
Get the ball rolling means to start something, initiate an activity or project, just get things moving.
It's that initial push. Let's get the ball rolling on our project.
In a dialogue, someone suggested, how should we start this project? The answer was, let's get the ball rolling by writing an outline first. That first step.
Creates a sense of momentum, right? Just start.
Exactly. Overcoming inertia.
And when you're not sure if someone's excuse is true, but you trust them anyway, Give someone the benefit of the doubt.
Give someone the benefit of the doubt means you choose to believe someone or accept their explanation, even if you don't have solid proof, or even if you have some doubts. It's an act of trust.
Shows patience and goodwill. She might be late, but I'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
Right. In one scenario, someone was late again, but their friend decided, okay, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and wait 5 more minutes. Choosing trust over suspicion.
A compassionate approach in uncertainty.
Yes. Prioritizes trust.
To really impress or succeed through hard work, you might go the extra mile.
Go the extra mile means doing more than what's required or expected, making an additional effort, really pushing yourself.
It's about exceeding expectations. To win, she always goes the extra mile.
Absolutely. The dialogue example showed someone who consistently goes the extra mile with extra practice and preparation, and that's why they succeed. Directly links extra effort to results.
Highlights the value of dedication.
That extra push for excellence.
And for something that happens incredibly quickly. In the blink of an eye.
In the blink of an eye. Describes something happening almost instantly, super fast.
Conveys amazing speed. The bird flew away in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, or the funny dialogue example where a pen disappeared in the blink of an eye. Whoosh, gone.
Yeah.
Emphasizes the suddenness.
We use these simple body actions like blinking to measure speed. Interesting.
It's instantly relatable.
If you get information directly from the source, it's straight from the horse's mouth.
Straight from the horse's mouth means getting information directly from the person who has the primary knowledge or authority on the subject. The most reliable source possible.
The ultimate confirmation, no doubt about it. I heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
Exactly. The dialogue confirmed a show was canceled because the person heard it straight from the horse's mouth, the director told me himself. Leaves no room for doubt.
And this comes from horse racing, too. Checking teeth.
That's the common story. Checking the horse's teeth was the direct, reliable way to know its age.
Fascinating. Okay, last one for this section. Staying firm in your beliefs. Stick to your guns.
Stick to your guns means to remain firm in your decisions, opinions, or beliefs, especially when others disagree or try to pressure you to change, holding your ground.
It's about conviction. She stuck to her guns even when others wanted to quit.
Absolutely. The dialogue showed someone defending their plan against doubters, saying, no, I stick to my guns. I believe this plan will work. Really emphasizes holding firm.
Encourages steadfastness when you really believe in something.
Definitely. Determination despite opposition.
Wow, we've covered a lot. Now for our final section, kind of a grab bag of miscellaneous idioms, common, useful phrases that didn't quite fit the earlier themes. Let's start with catch someone red-handed.
Catch someone red-handed means to discover someone in the very act of doing something wrong or forbidden. You catch them while they're doing it.
It's that moment of discovery, right? Undeniable. She was caught red-handed stealing candy.
Exactly. The dialogue example was, I saw Jake red-handed taking your pencil. Direct observation of the act. Very visual phrase.
Implies the evidence is right there.
Like having paint or blood on your hands.
Okay, now for one that sounds negative but means positive, break a leg.
Break a leg. Yes, this is a quirky way to say good luck, especially to actors before a performance, but also used more broadly for exams, presentations, etc.
Totally counterintuitive. You have an audition today. Break a leg. But everyone knows it means good luck.
It's a classic theatrical superstition. Apparently, saying good luck was considered bad luck, so they used the opposite.
Trying to trick fate. Love it. Okay, if something is super expensive, it might cost an arm and a leg.
Cost an arm and a leg means something is extremely expensive, really, really pricey.
Conveys a sense of huge sacrifice for the cost. That fancy car must cost an arm and a leg.
It does. The dialogue example used it for a big house, with the response being, yes, it was very expensive. Emphasizes the high price dramatically.
Using body parts for cost really hits home.
It's very emphatic.
If you start something too early, before the right time, you jump the gun.
Jump the gun means to start something prematurely before you're supposed to. Like a false start in a race.
All about timing. She jumped the gun and answered before the question was finished. Impatient.
Exactly. I saw a dialogue warning students, don't jump the gun and start writing before I say go. Emphasizes waiting for the signal.
Comes from racing, like starting before the starter pistol.
Precisely that. Premature action.
What about someone who talks tough but doesn't act? All bark and no bite.
All bark and no bite. Describes somebody who makes a lot of threats, talks aggressively or boasts, but never actually follows through with action. Their words are empty.
Just noise, no real danger. The example, He says he'll beat me in chess, but never does. He's all bark and no bite. Perfect.
It is. The dialogue example had someone who bragged a lot about winning a game, then lost badly. Conclusion, he's all bark and no bite.
Clearly contrasts bluster with reality. It comes from dogs.
Seems likely. A dog that barks fiercely but wouldn't actually bite.
Okay, if you need someone to slow down, wait a sec. Hold your horses.
Hold your horses means, wait a moment, be patient, slow down. It's a direct command to pause.
A gentle way to say, wait, right. Hold your horses, we're not leaving yet.
Exactly. In a dialogue, someone was eager to leave, rushing everyone, and was told, hold your horses, we still have a couple of minutes. Just asking for a little patience.
Creates that image of reining in horses, stopping them rushing off.
It's very vivid, yes. Translates well to impatience.
Next, a fundamental truth. Actions speak louder than words.
Actions speak louder than words. Means what people actually do is far more important and meaningful than what they just say they'll do. Proof is in the pudding.
It's about follow-through. He promises he will help, but actions speak louder than words. You wait to see if they actually help.
Exactly. The dialogue example involves someone promising to come to an event, but then not showing up. The reflection was, well, actions speak louder than words. Talking is easy.
Highlights that deeds, not just declarations, reveal true intentions or character.
Absolutely. It questions reliability based on words alone.
And when you're hoping for a good outcome, you cross your fingers.
Cross your fingers. This is both the physical gesture and the idiom, meaning to hope for good luck or a positive result.
It's a universal symbol of hope, isn't it? She crossed her fingers, hoping for good test results.
Very common. The dialogue had someone waiting to hear about a job application saying, okay, now I cross my fingers, expresses that hopeful anticipation.
Shows that common human desire for good fortune. If you're blaming the wrong person or pursuing a flawed plan, you might be barking up the wrong tree.
Barking up the wrong tree means you're mistaken in your focus, either blaming the wrong person or pursuing a line of thought or action that won't lead to the result you want. You're misdirected.
Like you're wasting your energy in the wrong place. If you think I broke the vase, you're barking up the wrong tree.
Exactly. The dialogue example cleared up a misunderstanding about who was supposed to finish a report. The accuser realized their mistake and said, oh, sorry, I was barking up the wrong tree.
Another hunting dog analogy, barking at an empty tree.
That's the idea. Wasted effort based on a wrong assumption.
When you get a share of success or profits, you get a piece of the pie.
A piece of the pie refers to getting a share or portion of something valuable, usually money, profits, or the benefits of success. Your slice of the reward.
It's about sharing in the games. The whole team worked hard, and they all deserved a piece of the pie when the project succeeded.
Nicely put. In a dialogue, someone asked if their contribution meant they could get a piece of the pie on a successful project, and the answer was yes, because their work was great. Links contribution to reward.
Fair share for fair work.
Exactly. Equity.
When you're studying or working very late at night, you're burning the midnight oil.
Burning the midnight oil means working or studying late into the night, often implying hard work and dedication, maybe fueled by caffeine. Refers back to when people used oil lamps.
Describes those intense late-night sessions perfectly. She was burning the midnight oil to finish her essay.
Absolutely. I saw a dialogue where someone was asked why they looked tired, and they replied, I was burning the midnight oil studying for the big exam. Didn't finish until 2 a.m. Conveys real dedication.
That's sacrifice for a goal.
Yes, that commitment.
If you fail to seize an opportunity, you miss the boat.
To miss the boat means you were too late to take advantage of an opportunity. The chance has passed you by.
It's that feeling of regret, isn't it? I wanted to buy concert tickets, but I waited too long and missed the boat. They're all sold out.
Exactly that feeling. The dialogue example showed someone who didn't sign up for a school trip in time and was told, sorry, you missed the boat. All the spots are filled. Clear consequence of delay.
Highlights that opportunities can be fleeting.
Act now or lose out.
When you get into trouble, you're in hot water.
To be in hot water means you're in trouble, facing a difficult situation, likely due to something you did wrong, expecting criticism or punishment.
Definitely sounds uncomfortable. He was in hot water after missing the important meeting.
Yep. The dialogue example showed the direct consequence. Someone skipped a crucial meeting, and the feedback was, uh-oh, now he's really in hot water with the boss. Clearly signifies trouble.
That hot water metaphor for trouble is pretty universal.
Instantly understood.
For something completely unexpected, it happens out of the blue.
Out of the blue. Describes something occurring suddenly, unexpectedly with no warning whatsoever, like it just appeared from a clear blue sky.
A total surprise. She called me out of the blue after years of no contact.
Right. The dialogue emphasized this surprise. He called you, really, out of the blue like that, highlighting the complete unexpectedness of the event.
Underscores life's unpredictability.
Things just happen sometimes.
When it becomes someone else's turn to make a move or decision, the ball is in your court.
The ball is in your court. Means the responsibility to take the next step, make a decision, or act now rests with you. The initiative has been passed over.
Clearly signals whose turn it is. Okay, I've done my part. Now the ball is in your court.
Exactly. The dialogue used it after someone was given an assignment. The person receiving it acknowledged, got it, the ball is in my court now. Understanding the responsibility is theirs.
Comes from sports like tennis or volleyball.
Yes, exactly. Whoever side the ball is on has to play it. Perfect metaphor.
And when you do absolutely everything possible, you go the whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards means everything, the complete amount, all of it, leaving absolutely nothing out. Total effort or completeness.
The maximum effort. For her party, she decorated, cooked, hired a band, the whole 9 yards.
Nice example. The dialogue I saw showed someone succeeding on a test because they went the whole 9 yards, studying every single night. It emphasizes exhaustive effort leading to success.
Though nobody's quite sure where the 9 yards came from originally.
The origin is debated, but the meaning of completeness is clear.
Then there's that feeling that things are always better somewhere else. The grass is greener on the other side.
The grass is greener on the other side. Describes the tendency to think other people's situations are better than your own, or to be perpetually dissatisfied, always imagining something better elsewhere.
That constant comparison game. She quit her job thinking the new one would be amazing, but soon realized the grass isn't always greener.
Exactly. The dialogue illustrated this perfectly. Someone wished they had their friend's fancy car, but then found out the friend had lots of problems. The conclusion. Maybe the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
A good reminder about appreciating what you have, perhaps.
And about illusions versus reality.
When a series of unfortunate events happen close together, when it rains, it pours.
When it rains, it pours. Means that misfortunes, or sometimes even good things, tend to happen all at once or in rapid succession. Problems compound.
It's that feeling of being hit by one thing after another. First the car broke down, then I lost my wallet. When it rains, it pours.
Precisely. The dialogue powerfully conveyed this. Someone's phone died right when they discovered they'd lost their keys. The reaction, oh man, when it rains, it pours. Everything bad happened at once.
Highlights how troubles often seem to cluster together.
Misfortune rarely comes alone, as the saying implies.
And finally, a classic motto for hard work. No pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain. Means you have to endure effort, hard work, struggle, or even some discomfort to achieve something worthwhile. Improvement requires pushing yourself.
The mantra of perseverance. You have to keep practicing soccer even when it's tough. No pain, no gain.
Exactly. The dialogue applied it to exercise. Someone was finding it hard, but their friend reminded them, no pain, no gain. And the person agreed, you're right, I keep trying. Links effort directly to results.
Underscores that value placed on effort and overcoming challenges to succeed.
A very common motivator across many fields. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. Okay, that was quite the journey through, well, just a slice of the world of English idioms. From food to feelings, school days to stormy weather.
It really was. Our deep dive hopefully showed you how these expressions are so much more than just quirky sayings. They're fundamental, adding flavor, depth.
And helping you understand nuances that literal words miss. Grasping these really does help you get meanings faster and, yeah, sound more natural yourself.
Absolutely. They offer those aha moments, don't they? Connecting language to culture, to shared human experiences. They're shortcuts to really getting English.
Definitely essential for understanding how native speakers often think and communicate.
So now that you've had this taste, this tour of A1 idioms, here's something to think about.
Okay.
How might actively listening for these idioms in movies, songs, everyday conversations change how you appreciate English and the cultures that use it?
Good question. And what does the fact that we have so many idioms about certain things, like food or weather or struggle, what does that tell us about the human experience itself, what we collectively value or face?
Something to chew on, indeed. Welcome to the Deep Dive. So we've gathered a whole stack of sources, articles, some research, even our own notes. And our mission for you today is, well, pretty straightforward. We're going to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights Think of it as, your shortcut to getting genuinely up to speed on some really complex, really fascinating subjects.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll challenge your understanding a bit, maybe broaden your perspective, and hopefully help you make sense of all the different viewpoints out there.
And that's crucial because with topics this intricate, there really aren't any easy answers, are there? Our goal isn't to tell you what to think. It's more about giving you a clearer map of the terrain, arming you with different perspectives, and, well, encouraging that critical thinking muscle we all need.
Okay, let's dive right into our first topic then. It's one that's everywhere right now. The ethics of artificial intelligence. It's not just sci-fi anymore, is it? Our sources really dig into some big questions. What are our responsibilities as we build these smarter machines? What are the actual dangers? And on the flip side, what are the potential benefits?
It's striking, actually, how the different viewpoints around AI ethics often come down to this fundamental tension. You see, the sheer speed of innovation versus this urgent need for safeguards. So on one hand, you've got voices saying we absolutely need responsible, fair AI development right now.
Urgently.
Their warning is pretty stark. If we don't put the right measures in place, given how powerful this tech is, we could genuinely end up with systems that are dangerous or, just amplify existing harms.
And those aren't just abstract fears.
Yeah.
Some sources point to things like autonomous weapons or AI making really high-stakes decisions without enough human oversight. Those feel like very real concerns.
They do, but then you get the counter-argument focusing on the incredible possibilities AI offers.
Right, the upside.
Exactly. Revolutionizing medicine, helping fight climate change, improving lives in countless ways. These voices urge us to consider the immense benefits, not just get sort of bogged down only by the potential dangers.
Okay.
And then there's a third perspective, which is quite nuanced. It acknowledges the advantages, the usefulness of AI, but still expresses real apprehension about it being everywhere in our everyday lives.
Like?
Well, raising concerns about basics like data protection and also the risk of bias getting baked into AI systems, often unintentionally because the data it learns from reflects our own biases.
So the AI just learns and repeats the biases it's shown, sometimes invisibly.
Precisely. Invisibly to the user, often.
So it's not just what the AI does, but how it works and whether we even, get it. Digging deeper into the sources, one expert really hammered home the importance of transparency.
Opening the black box.
Exactly. Opening the black box. Like understanding why an AI suggested a particular treatment, not just accepting it, seeing the data, the logic. They also stress the need for clear laws for these new technologies.
Right, but there's pushback there too, isn't there? Another voice cautioned that things are moving so fast, if you put in too many restrictions too early, you could actually stifle vital progress. So they argued for a delicate balance. Responsibility, yes, but also allowing innovation room to breathe.
It's like trying to design the safety features for a rocket while it's already launching.
Something like that, yeah. And then a third expert kept coming back to the ethical standards, asking that really crucial question. How do we make sure AI benefits everyone, not just a select few or specific industries?
Okay.
So connecting the dots here, what's really fascinating is that core tension between breakneck innovation and the urgent call for ethical guardrails. It really poses a tough question, doesn't it?
Which is?
Can we actually legislate and guide a technology that seems to be evolving faster than we can fully grasp its implications? It feels like we're constantly playing catch up.
That's a huge question, and it actually leads us perfectly into our next topic, the future of work. Because if AI's ethical landscape is shifting so fast, what does that mean for how we all earn a living? How are automation and AI changing the workplace? What skills matter now? And maybe most importantly, how can we prepare?
Well, the outlooks presented in the sources are pretty varied. It's like different weather forecasts for the same coming storm,
Okay.
On one side, you've got predictions of a really significant shift, a lot more automation.
The robots are coming for our jobs narrative.
Basically, yes. That computers will take over many tasks humans do now, meaning people will need to acquire completely new skills to adapt. It's a big retraining challenge.
Okay, that's one view.
Then there's a second perspective. They agree technology is changing fast, but they're more optimistic. They believe new jobs will emerge, maybe more interesting ones. And AI could actually help by taking over the dull or undesirable tasks, potentially making our work lives better if we plan it right. AI as a colleague, maybe, not just a replacement.
That sounds a bit more hopeful. But I sense a but coming.
Well, there's the third view. It acknowledges the potential upside of technology, but worries, quite intensely actually, about the sheer scale of retraining needed.
The practicalities.
Exactly. Concerns about how difficult it might be for people without strong tech skills, potentially widening the gap in society. A future where only the tech savvy really flourish.
So it's clear adaptation is the name of the game, whichever way it goes. The sources also talked about pathways forward, how to prepare.
Right.
Some really honed in on the critical need for access to the right training, and a big focus on educating the next generation with the skills to actually leverage these new opportunities.
While others shifted the focus slightly, emphasizing those often called soft skills.
Like creativity, adaptability.
Precisely. Being creative, innovative, flexible, adaptable. And they also stress developing strong problem-solving and critical thinking skills. That seems to be a recurring theme, doesn't it?
It really does. It's not just about learning to code then. It's about learning how to learn how to think critically.
Yes. And a key point raised was that individuals can't do this alone. There needs to be support.
From who?
From governments, from employers. Things like retraining programs, rethinking education to meet these future needs. It has to be a collective effort.
That makes sense. So thinking about all these different angles, maybe reflecting on your own path or someone you know, what's one thing you're considering as we look towards this changing future of work? Okay, let's shift gears now to something that touches, well, probably most of our daily lives, often quite personally. The impact of social media on mental health.
Ah, yes, a big one.
Is it good? Is it bad? What are the real dangers versus the benefits we might overlook?
We all kind of know the common criticisms, don't we? The constant comparison, seeing those, perfectly curated, often unrealistic lives online.
Yeah, the highlight reel effect.
Exactly. But what the sources really emphasize is how deeply these things can chip away at self-esteem, especially for younger people. One expert was quite clear. It has a significant negative impact, leading to anxiety, sadness, feelings of failure, partly because reality gets blurred and there's this immense pressure to measure up. They particularly noted how vulnerable younger generations are to negative effects on their mental health and self-image because of online influence.
That feeling that everyone else is doing better, even if you intellectually know it's probably not true.
Absolutely. But then you have the other side of the coin. A different perspective highlighted social media's huge positive potential.
Such as?
Well, connecting people across the globe, for one. Building really vibrant communities around shared interests. It can be an amazing platform for creativity, for self-expression.
Right. Think about niche hobby groups finding each other, or artists getting their work seen.
Exactly. So it's not just a villain, it's complex.
Definitely complex. So how do we navigate this? How do we minimize the harm and maybe leverage the good parts? One speaker really stressed educating kids and young people.
Media literacy.
Yeah, teaching them about safe, responsible social media use, making them aware of the potential pitfalls.
And another viewpoint pushed for something we could probably all benefit from. Just having more open conversations about mental health.
Online and offline.
Both. The idea is to foster a more inclusive, supportive online environment where people feel okay seeking help or offering it. Less stigma.
Breaking that stigma seems key. And what else?
Well, a third point was about self-education. Basically, taking personal responsibility to understand how we are affected by social media and making conscious choices about how we use it, looking after our own mental well-being, and maybe trying to create a more positive space for others, too.
That requires a fair bit of self-awareness. So reflecting on these points, what's maybe one practical step you could consider taking for a healthier relationship with your own online world?
Okay, so to kind of pull these threads together, the ethics of AI, the future of our jobs, how we interact online, there seems to be one foundational skill that keeps coming up: critical thinking.
Absolutely. It underpins everything.
Why is it so crucial according to the sources? And maybe more importantly, how can we actually get better at it? Well, critical thinking was defined pretty clearly across the board as just fundamental for navigating the modern world. One expert put it nicely: it's the ability to question information, really evaluate the evidence, and draw your own conclusion.
Instead of just passively accepting things.
Exactly. Not just accepting what you're told, being a bit of a detective with information. You see a headline, instead of just reacting, you ask, okay, who wrote this? What might be their angle? Is there actual evidence here?
So it's active engagement, not just passive consumption.
Precisely. Another viewpoint really emphasized how vital it is for good problem solving and making sound decisions. Their point was, without it, we're much more vulnerable to manipulation.
Because we can't properly analyze if something's true or not.
Right. And a third perspective highlighted how essential it is simply because of the sheer volume of information we face. Information overload is real.
Tell me about it.
Critical thinking skills are what help us filter all that noise, process it effectively, and crucially, tell the difference between facts and opinions. Mistaking one for the other can be, well, dangerous.
It really sounds like less of a nice to have and more of a basic survival skill for today.
You could definitely argue that.
The discussions also looked at how we apply and develop it day to day. It's not just academic.
No, not at all. It's important in all aspects of life, from personal choices, what you buy, who you trust, to big global decisions about policy. And there was a strong emphasis, again, on teaching these skills early to younger generations to equip them for the future.
And it needs practice, right? It's not just theoretical knowledge.
Exactly. Another speaker stressed that point. Critical thinking isn't something you just learn about. It needs to be practiced every single day. Making better choices, evaluating news, even deciding what to have for dinner sometimes involves a level of critical thought. It's a skill you constantly hone.
And the final point really summed it up, calling it a vital life skill we need to keep improving, leading to more informed choices for ourselves and ultimately a better society.
Yeah, what's truly fascinating here is how critical thinking really does seem to be the common thread linking our ability to engage with all these other complex topics we've touched on. It raises a key question, I think. If we're constantly swimming in this sea of information, how do we actively, consciously integrate critical thinking into our daily routines? How do we make sure we're making genuinely informed choices, not just for ourselves, but, for our communities, for society as a whole?
We've certainly covered a lot of ground today, navigated through some really insightful, sometimes challenging discussions, from the ethical tightrope of AI, the shifting sands of the future of work, that complex, very personal relationship many have with social media and mental health, and landing on the foundational power of critical thinking itself.
And remember, the whole point of this deep dive, the goal, was really to expand your understanding by laying out multiple viewpoints on these pretty complicated subjects. It's about that continuous process, isn't it? Questioning, evaluating, learning. That's what's vital for navigating this fast-changing world.
Absolutely. So as you reflect on everything we've explored today, here's one final thought for you to maybe chew on. If critical thinking really is the essential skill for finding truth and making informed choices, how can you, in your own sphere, help foster environments, whether online or offline, where different perspectives aren't just tolerated, but are actively heard, considered, and debated respectfully? How can we use that to strengthen our collective understanding and move forward?